Happy Mother's Day. The prelude of Mother's Day, one of the stories is there was Anne Reeves Jarvis, who lives in Appalachian, West Virginia, in the 1800s, and she gave birth to 12 children. 8 of her children died before the age of 7. And that was not unique to her situation. So what she did at age 26, she started to organize Mother's Day work clubs. And the purpose of the work clubs was to improve sanitation and health conditions in her impoverished community. Then the Civil War happened, and in her area there was a deep divide because there were Union troops and Confederate troops. And she insisted that her mother clubs served both troops, served all the soldiers who needed help, no matter if they were on the Union side or the Confederate side. When the Civil War ended, there was still a big divide in the area, and she organized in 1868, she organized Mother's Friendship Day. And the purpose was to bring the families together and restore a sense of community. So there's a theme here. Her focus continually was service. Service for the betterment of others, service for the betterment of community. Her daughter, Anna Jarvis, organized the first Mother's Day service in 1908. And she made it very clear that it was in honor of her mother, who had really hoped for this. Within 5 years, almost every state in the United States started observing Mother's Day. And then in 1914, President Woodrow Wilson made it a national holiday. When we look at how Mother's Day came about, it is truly honoring service, being of service to our community. And that is not just limited to mothers, right? It's like most of us here, or all of us here, are of service to the community. We give for the betterment of others. And so it is not, Mother's Day is really not gender specific. Even when we think about mothering children, we know that sometimes the biological mother is not available for one reason or another. But a male might step in, or a non-binary person might step in and become that mother figure. I was also thinking about, the sayings like, oh, the mama bear came out in me. And that feeling of the mama bear comes out in us is not gender specific. It's a type of energy, it's a type of love that is so strong that we will stand up for something or someone no matter the consequences. Mama bear energy is fierce protectiveness. It's vigilance. She watched the surroundings, making sure that her cubs are safe. It is patience. She will teach her cubs with great, great patience. And it's funny, there's a mama bear video who had 4 cubs, which is a large litter actually for bears. And she needed to guide them across a road. And she would take them one at a time. And so she would be successful with 1 cub. And then she would go back to get another one. And as she was going back, that cub that was across the road came back. So I think it took her 4 hours to get all 4 cubs across the road. But she did it. She wanted to make sure that they were safe. There's physical attunement. She has a sense of where her cubs are at. And there's also great sacrifice. When there's not enough food, she will feed her cubs first. She will go without food. She will go without sleep, just to make sure that her cubs are okay. There's also great joy. Mama bears roll down the hills with her cubs. I see that in my own experience of being a mother. It's like when my child was born 33 years ago, to me, they were the cutest being in the world. They still are, actually. I try to kind of monitor it when I'm around them. But, but there is this incredible feeling. And it's, I learned to go beyond my limitations. It's like if I would have the flu and I would feel really sick, it didn't matter how sick I was. I still had to take care of my kid. I still had to get up. It wasn't about me. It was about my child and my child's thriving. Rumi says in his poem Sublime Generosity, "The power of love came into me, and I became fierce like a lion, then tender like the evening star." That power of love, it's like Rumi says, came into me, but what I want to say, the power of love lives within us. It's already there. The mama bear feeling is already there. It's just a matter for us to access it. So let's see if we can do that right now. Let's see if we can get in touch with that love. So just take a deep breath. You can close your eyes if you're comfortable doing so, and otherwise just soften your gaze so you can go inside. And one of the things you need to remember as you're tuning inside, that mama bear love, like sometimes it's like this fire that is blazing, and sometimes are the embers that are still smoldering. But it's there, so ask yourself. Just remember a moment when you felt fiercely protective, fiercely devoted to someone or something, or to a value you have. Don't analyze it, just really go into the feeling. When you're in touch with that feeling, it's like, where does it live in your body? Does it live in your chest, your belly, your throat? When you're located in your body, think of it as the address of that fierce love. Just notice where it is. Now that you notice it, just be with it. Ask yourself, what do I already love enough that it could pull that response from me? So the love is already there. Now, what in your life do you already love enough that that fire starts to blaze? What is trying to unfold in me or through me that deserves that quality of love? Now don't get too hung up on what's happening, because this is a practice that you can take with you. So just stay with what comes up. Now what has come up for you, I want you to cherish it. Visualize it. Maybe hear the sounds of it. Notice the shape of it. Let it sink in. Let it be this connection between the head and the heart. And then take a deep breath and open your eyes. We all have things that we're passionate about. We all have things that we feel the strong energy about. But sometimes we might be misguided and we need to adjust. So even when that fierce love comes up, we still need to use discernment. And as I was looking for mama bear qualities and I was just on the internet just trying to get a feel for it, I actually came across a documentary that's called Mama Bears. And it's on PBS, and it's really a wonderful documentary. And it is a group of moms, it started in Texas, a group of moms who were conservative Christians or evangelical Christians and really believed that the LGBTQ plus community lived in sin. That is what they were taught for generations. And it was really interesting to see the documentary because my heart actually really opened where, you know, sometimes it's hard to open up to those beliefs. What I saw in the documentary, that those women had really come from a place of thinking that they did the best for the world. You know, the saying was, it's like, yeah, we wanted to spread the word of Christ in this Christian country, you know, and there was such passion behind that. But then one of the children came out as lesbian, gay, or transgender. One mother tells the story, her 3-year-old transgender daughter told her, "I am not a boy, I am a girl." And what they did, they were so shocked and didn't want her to burn in hell forever. So they started to respond to her saying that with violence. So they said, like, whenever she would say, "I'm a girl," they would spank her, and they would spank her hard. Whenever she had girls' toys, they would take it away from her and punish her. But this girl, this transgender girl, is so firm in her experience that she wouldn't budge. And the mother, it was so beautiful to hear, the mother at a certain point went like, maybe I am misinterpreting the Bible. And she started to read the Bible in a different way and came across that we are made in the image of God. And she went like, if we are made in the image of God, if God knitted my child together in my womb, and it is transgender, then that is the image of God. Then that is the love of God expressing. And so she shifted. And all her energy that at first was used to save her child from hell went now to activism. And at the time, there was also the bathroom ban that has been discussed, unfortunately went through, but at the time that a documentary was made, it hadn't. And she would travel with her child, and she wasn't the only one, she would travel with her child to Austin to talk about her experience. And one time there was a session that went till 5 o'clock in the morning, and they were there. And her child testified at 2 o'clock in the morning. They put in so much effort that Mama Bear Love was so activated that she would do anything to protect her children and to protect the community. And so they formed an organization, Real Mama Bears. And it's really beautiful, but it's also worth seeing that shift had to take place. You know, that energy was there, that protectiveness was there for her child, but it was misguided. I've talked about it before, it's like the Hindu goddess Kali, who is so fierce. You know, but she is the most loving goddess in Hinduism. But she cuts out what is not true to love. And I think when we experience that mama bear love, we also need to do that for ourselves. We need to ask ourselves, when this energy comes up, is it nurturing? Is it supporting other people? Is it uplifting the community? Or am I being misguided? I actually had dinner with Christopher last night, which was really nice. We always talk about our talks. And we were saying, it's like, yes, what I was saying is like, yeah, in the 20-minute talk, on Sunday, one of my concerns is always that I bring something forth, but it's always a topic. Everything can be contemplated, I want to say forever, truly, because we're in this journey and there are always aspects to it. It's not necessarily so straightforward. Like when that mama bear love comes up, follow it. Yes, but you also have to be clear if it is misguided or not, right? It is so important, and we need to understand what our values are, and are our values really in alignment with that divine energy that truly loves everybody? And that was the beautiful thing for me, is like seeing this documentary, is like my heart opening up to the conservative Christian community and having some understanding, or having a better understanding of what might guide them. Because the mother that I was just talking about, she was saying, it's like, yeah, 5 generations are alive, at this time. She has a large family. But when she started to support her transgender girl, she says right now she's only talking with 2 family members. Everybody fell away, and not only that, she says she had friends with whom she shared all the ups and downs in life, and they would send her messages like, we're going to send child protective services to you. We're going to take your child away. Or we're going to commit you to a mental institution. The risk to step out is enormous. The loss she experienced to step out was enormous, but she was so firmly established in the love of God that she said, like, there are seasons in my life and it will come again. This is a hard time, but it will come again. And it's, I must say, there's a lot of admiration I have for her, but I think it is for all of us. Sometimes when we need to follow our hearts, there is a big sacrifice to really do so, to stand up. Growing up, not everybody growing up has experienced that mama bear love, that protective love, but knowing that it is inside of us that can feed us. I noticed that when it's like the exercise we did, it's like, what brings out that love in you? Sometimes the mama bear love just jumps up, right? It's almost like a flash. It's just there. But then it subsides. But what I notice is that when I check in with my values and go like, what is truly important to me, then I can give that energy. And when it's almost like mothering myself, giving that to myself, making that commitment to myself, to let the flames rise, to let the fire grow. And I notice that when I do that, when I have my own back, when I stand in my own worthiness, when I'm in my confidence, then my life feels so full. And sometimes that means that other things fall away. And I can bless it. But when I'm really willing to stand in the truth that I know and what is important to me, then the mothering love that might not have been there in the beginning just rises up and fills me up. And then when we're full, we can start to share it with others. One of the things that came out of the organization Real Mama Bears is, let me just think for a second. Oh yeah, it's called the organization Free Mom Hugs. So one of the mothers of that group had posted on Facebook one time, because she realized that in the LGBTQ community, when people would get married, their moms sometimes wouldn't be there because, they would be disowned, or the family didn't want to have anything to do with them. And she had posted on Facebook, if that's the case, I will be a stand-in mother for you. And she was amazed at the responses she received, and she started doing that. And then what she started to organize is the organization Free Mom Hugs, and they would go to pride parades, and they would give anybody a hug who would want a hug. And she said the stories she received were amazing, and in the video, in the documentary, there is a person who says like, oh, I haven't had a hug like that for years. Can you imagine? And so when we are full, we can start giving to the community. We can start sharing it. Howard Thurman has a beautiful quote where, when I talked about when we find what is important to us, to feed it, to fan the fire, to fan the flames, he says, commitment means that it is possible for a person to yield the nerve center of their consent. I had to sit with that sentence for a little bit, but it's so beautiful. It's possible for a person to yield the nerve center of their consent to a purpose or cause, a movement or an ideal, which may be more important to them than whether they live or die. So there is that experience of this flash of energy that comes up, but it's really our work to yield the nerve center of our consent, to say like, this is what I stand for. This is what I support for the well-being of all. The monthly theme is life as it unfolds. And our love can be for a being, our love can be for a cause. And a beautiful example of life as it unfolds in this sense of our passion, of our Mama Bear love, is Alice Waters. And Alice Waters went to study for a year abroad in France, and she was in Paris, where she went to the market and she got a vegetable, and the taste was so exquisite. And she asked, I was in the 60s, she asked, it's like, where did this come from? And she realized that all the markets that sold the vegetables was all from the local farmers. And so when she came to the States, she actually started Japanese. And her idea was, she says, I opened Japanese because feeding people good food felt like the only hopeful thing I could do. So she started Japanese not as a movement, but because that was important to her. But she really wanted to have good food. So she started to connect with the farmers. And she would say, if you grow a crop in an organic manner, I will guarantee you that I'll buy it. And so the farmers started doing that, and that is really how organic farming came about. And then she didn't stop there. She was really inspired by Maria Montessori and started to connect with kids and started to make local gardens so the kids learned about gardening and healthy food. And then Michelle Obama was inspired by that, so you can just see that this movement just grew. But it really started with her following her passion, her standing in her value, her flaming, fanning the fire and have it grow. So start, what do you love enough? What do you love enough to give it energy and to make it a priority in your life? Use discernment to see if it really supports the community, if it uplifts the community. And then feed it. Happy Mother's Day.